I'm Konan. Most people know me as Konan the comedian. And yes, I am a IFBB Pro and a professional comedian. I perform at the Strip in Las Vegas. It's a weird combination, but yeah, there's nothing that not can be done, right?
And which one for you is more intimidating, getting on stage as a comedian or getting on stage as a bodybuilder?
Comedian, definitely. Like if you go on stage in trunks, nobody's gonna boo you, or like you don't need a reaction from the audience. But when you go out, tell jokes and people don't laugh or stare at you, that's way more awkward.
Yeah, I can imagine it would be. I'm a pretty good comedy fan myself, and just hearing different people tell stories about that, it's such an interesting dynamic to where like there's not that many other times in life when you would like boo somebody, right? Like obviously on stage is a little bit different. I mean, I don't it's kind of heartless still, but like you wouldn't just be like listening to someone tell you a story and then start booing them. It's such an interesting thing that comedy has where it's almost like accepted to be a little bit critical, be a little bit harsh sometimes, like to people
Hmm.
on stage.
Yeah, I mean, people pay to laugh. If you don't like the comedian, that's okay, but being interrupting the show is always rude. And most comedy clubs also don't allow that, so they're gonna kick you out at some point. But to be honest, when somebody like me walks on stage, I barely have somebody who's heckling me.
Yeah, I can only imagine, being a bodybuilder probably wouldn't invite too many challengers in those
Yeah.
terms. So which one did you actually get started in first? Was it bodybuilding or comedy?
Bodybuilding. So I started 2012, did my first show at the IFBB Switzerland. I'm born and raised in Switzerland. I did the nationals, did fourth place, and from there I never could stop again. I came back next year, won the nationals in men's physique, and then I won the nationals in classic bodybuilding. Back then, you guys didn't have that even here, so we have in Europe classic physique for a long time. The name was just classic bodybuilding.
Gotcha.
So, and then with the years and years, I never liked, to be honest, man's physique. I always was a bodybuilder. To be honest, I would like still even now be a bodybuilder, but I just feel like it would take me way too much to have the size to be competitive. And I love the classic physique too, so that's how I end up doing classic physique.
Gotcha. And so what actually introduced you to the sport of bodybuilding? Where did you, because at least here in America, it's not like a sport where people are talking about it a lot, or it's not a sport where it's like, you don't tell your kids like, hey, get into bodybuilding. Like, where did you hear about it? And why'd you get into it?
I mean, I grew up with Rocky, Rambo, Arnold, Dragon Ball, and uh, and I was a fat kid, so I was still like 19 or 20, really fat. So out of the complex, I always had the desire to look good. And from fat kid, I just always had the need. I wanted to look better and better and better. And I guess that's also one of the points that's why I'm never satisfied, because I always want to look better. So that's, I think a lot of people have complexes, and let's say small people, short people, they always short. They want to be big, feel big. What do? Get into bodybuilding.
Very interesting. Yeah. I think a lot of the way that our life is shaped and like how it kind of like the routes that we take, it really is shaped by like what we feel about ourselves, how like our youth goes, like what people in our youth are saying around us and to us. And it's just very interesting how we can spend the rest of our life like almost trying to feel good about ourselves because of what happened early on.
Yeah, like my wife says always, like you also sometimes like people say be never satisfied because then you stop working hard, but I think you should be also satisfied and ha proud what you did, you know. But we mostly forget like from where we're coming. So we need to be satisfied, but also hungry for more. But that's just a hard balance.
Absolutely. It's really hard, especially when you get into doing something that's hard and you're looking for like that motivation to just like, okay, have 2 or 3 reps left on this set. I need some like I need that motivation. I need to almost feel like I haven't done enough. I need to feel like this
Mm-hmm.
is really important to do because it just is going to make the difference. And whenever you're in that environment, having this idea of like satisfaction or I've done enough is almost like a detriment to the situation. But then outside of that environment, I think that's when you can kick in and be like, man, I'm proud of myself for even a small thing. Like I'm proud of getting those last few reps in that weren't comfortable. I'm proud of getting that whatever in that was hard to do. I just think, like you said, it takes balance and knowing when to feel certain ways about certain
Mm-hmm.
things.
Yeah, 100%, but it's just hard. That's why most bodybuilders, I don't think they can do that, included me. I can win a show and still go home, look at the picture and be unhappy how I looked. So that's just something you need to learn. And I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but my wife really helps me a lot with that mental aspect of this, of all this. And also about the a lot of some people talk is the food disorder, you know, what the whole sport brings you like a way you look at food that it's not healthy. You know, we think just we can eat when we do something, but you should also enjoy food if you don't do something, just in moderation.
Right. No, yeah.
So,
I think it does take a certain type of almost like person or personality to do it, get into any given thing. And bodybuilding certainly attracts a person who is more, I think, about going to the extremes, having those
mhm.
extreme, sometimes highs and extreme lows, and sometimes not knowing exactly how to manage those. But looking at bodybuilding more as like a lifestyle, though, I think if you take the moderation side of it, the balance side of it, and kind of cut those two ends off, I think so many people can benefit from the kind of some of the habits that people in bodybuilding do, even if they're not ever going to step on stage.
Yeah, I mean, bodybuilding teaches you a lot. So I am very happy about that. I feel like it teaches you a lot, but it's also a big toll. Like, for instance, I'm a person, you don't need to tell me to do something. You need to stop me to do too much. Like my coach literally needs to call almost my wife and say, hey, he is not allowed to do more cardio. I just like this person to person different. I just like to suffer. And I guess that comes from that back in the days, like when I was a fat kid or had like all these insecurities in me. I'm also I'm also known as being the shredded guy. So if you look at the pictures even from the fit world, you just see I was peeled out of my mind because that's just like how I feel like, okay, I want to be the most shredded. But I feel like that comes with, like I said, from the childhood. And so there's different kind of things.
Right.
I mostly overdo it. So that's my problem. You never need to tell me to do more. You need to tell me to do less.
Right. No, I think that
So
from a highly competitive perspective and people who are competing in bodybuilding, especially at a high level, it's I think that's a common trait. If you look at people outside of bodybuilding, but people like Kobe Bryant, he would train for hours and hours and hours, get up early and train, stay up late and train. And in certain sports, like basketball, I think that's okay. I think it's a little bit less of a toll on things.
uh-huh.
But when you get into sports like bodybuilding, where I can compare it to like cooking, where it doesn't matter if this recipe says 400, you cook it on 600, it's not going to be better. You have to follow the guide, you have to follow the recipe.
Exactly. So It mostly hurts me. That's the problem. Like mostly, I'm sacrificing fullness or size because, like you said, like everybody works different. When I'm getting too deep into cutting, I'm losing the fullness. I'm looking strainy. So that's how things that bodybuilding brings. Like everybody is different. There's people that I'm coaching a lot of people, and there's people I really need to tell them, do your cardio, do your cardio. And to me, you don't need to say do your cardio. You need to tell me, don't do it, and then even check on it if I really didn't do it. So it's a different kind of mentality.
Right. And it's funny how we can like give people great advice. We can tell them everything that we know and like we can tell them all the great things, but when it comes to applying it
Yes.
to ourselves, sometimes it's harder to do.
Yeah, like if they are out there watching the show, the number one mistake you can do is not to do what your coach says, because there is a reason why he says it. It's a whole plan. The nutrition, the recovery, and the cardio and the workout all works all together. If you change one of the variables, you're not gonna get the effect. So just listen to your coach. If you can't listen to your coach, don't get the coach.
Are you looking for a supplement company that can help take your fitness game to the next level? Look no further than All Sport Pharmaceuticals. Their cutting-edge supplements are scientifically formulated to give you the edge you need in the gym and in life. Whether you're looking to build muscle, increase endurance, or boost recovery time, All Sport Pharmaceuticals has you covered. And with a wide range of products designed for people of all levels, you're sure to find the perfect supplement for your needs. So why wait? Give your body the support it deserves with All Sport Pharmaceuticals. Visit their website today to learn more and start achieving your fitness goals.
Yeah, that's huge advice for sure. I mean, I don't compete in bodybuilding, but I would say I'm a huge fan of the sport and I love kind of the habits of it, right? I love the training and things like that. And I have a coach and I find myself sometimes even here recently, being more in a cut style phase, wanting to be like, it says do this much, but if I do a little bit more, will it be more
Mhm.
helpful? And I know like I would never tell anybody else to do that, but in my own head, it's sometimes like, well, if I just do a little bit more, maybe I'll get there quicker. Maybe I'll, have more results.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like what we preach and what we do is two different things sometimes.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
tough. Getting into like whenever you first started bodybuilding though, was bodybuilding to you, did you feel like it was more of like this thing to where I want to be competitive, I want to see how far I can go with this? Or was it to you, was it like I just want something in my life, I want a challenge? Like what, when you first got into it, what was kind of the purpose of it for you?
Oh, I'm very competitive. I hate losing. I'm like a child. If I lose, you can't talk to me. Like I'm a very bad loser, so I admit. I always wanted to be a professional bodybuilder since I started competing. And like I said, the reason why I always give 100% is I just hate to losing. And you just sometimes need to learn and from the lost, like for instance, 2 weeks before the Fit World, did I want to be ninth place? No. I was cranky, yeah. I mean, but at the end of the day, you just need to juggle it, go back at work, come better, there's no other way.
Right. And then how do you feel like you, because of that, like just absolute attitude towards hating to lose, and sometimes do you feel like it sometimes takes you longer to almost pick up those things that you should be doing, like those messages that you should have gained earlier, maybe like a week before or a couple of whatever? Like, do you think it takes you maybe a little bit longer to truly process the some of the things that you could have done better to be better, or the things that you should be doing next time to do better?
So, I mean, my wife is a big help. Like, she shows me mostly, she helps me a lot mentally by in situations like that, where she shows me. And to be honest, to losing just makes me work harder. So I'm just gonna come better. Uh, I'm not one of those people, oh, I lost. I I lost, so I give up. No, I maybe cry for a day, but then I'm at the gym and work even harder. So that's why you see I live in Las Vegas. I'm in a hoodie. You can imagine why. I'm again in peak week. I'm doing the Charlotte Pro. I'm here for revenge. I want a better placing. And every time when I heard me being in that call out and I'm in the gym and I don't want to do a rep, I do 3 more reps. So this is how I see it.
Do you think that almost because you're so competitive that if you were to never lose, like if you were just winning every single show, do you think you'd almost not get as much out of that experience?
Yeah, I mean, losing is definitely a part of the process. Like I did last year, my first national pro qualifier show here in America, and I lost my pro card for one placing. And everybody like, oh yeah, that's amazing. You did third place in a national show. I said and I was like butthurt. I was like literally, I said, I'm never gonna do bodybuilding again. We came back and I just worked harder. 4 weeks later, I won the USA's. So you learn. You learn. I maybe need to learn to not right away show my emotions and just be more wait to calm down instead of right away being angry, But we are all humans and everybody has his flaws. And like I said, I just hate to lose.
Yeah. I think it's like I said, I think it goes back to like a personality type almost. Some people are going to get into bodybuilding because that's their personality, as they hate to lose, or maybe they love a challenge, or they love being disciplined, or and you can't like you almost can't expect anything different because no one without that personality type would be doing the things that these people are doing.
Yeah, like I said, some people say, oh, it's amazing, your first national show, third place. I just heard I'm the third place
Right.
and not the winner. So I think you need you need a character like that to be successful in this sport. Otherwise, you're just gonna be always the guy who is just competing.
Right. Yeah.
And if I'm competing, I want to be good. I want to make damage. I wanna be in the mix.
Yeah.
Because the sacrifice we do for this sport is way too big to just do it for fun.
This podcast is sponsored by Smoking Gun Coffee, a veteran-owned coffee company that strives to give back to those in need. Don't forget to use code TWR10 for a 10% discount at checkout.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of people say, it's you versus you. And then I saw this video today, I think that I can't remember who it was, very, very famous, very popular bodybuilder, but I can't remember who it was. They were saying it is you versus you during your prep and everything like that, but it's you versus everybody else during a competition. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like it is that is true, or do you still go kind of with the you versus you even on competition day?
It's always you versus you. If you bring your best, nobody can beat you. Like it's not in your hands. Let's say this way. Like I can't prepare for who is showing at the show. I can just bring my best. I can't choose who's my opponents. The only variable I have is work hard. So that's why I always say if I lose and it was a fair loss, I'm not butthurt.
And do you feel like you're kind of going over, looking back at your experience in the sport, and then combining that with getting into comedy? Do you feel like your stage presence at all changed or improved or anything like that because of your experience being on stage as a comedian at all?
Yeah, so I'm very more comfortable on stage, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does that affect too with comedy? Does that affect too, like getting into comedy since you were already bodybuilding and being on a stage? Was it a little bit more? Do you feel like I guess you wouldn't know per se, but do you feel like you were kind of a little bit more comfortable being on stage as a comedian?
I would say the opposite. I'm more comfortable on stage because of comedy.
Gotcha.
So, because like I said, doing comedy on stage is way more uncomfortable than doing posing.
Gotcha. And I guess thinking about it, as a bodybuilder, you have a few people, right? You have a few judges that you need to present for. But as a comedian, everybody's judging you, right? Out there in the crowd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have a direct, instant reaction.
Right.
Like when you go on stage and posing, nobody's booing or laughing at you or negative. You just get maybe a negative placing, but that's all. But
Right.
when you go up and do a joke and nobody laughs, you have an instant reaction. And that instant reaction can make you feel bad.
Yeah. And does one make you feel better for like during the success if you're out there and you're killing it, as a comedian versus winning a show? Like does either one feel better to you?
It's both amazing feeling. Like making a crowd laugh is just amazing. What is better than to make people laugh?
Sure.
It's like almost like creating a great movie.
Right.
Like everybody knows Forrest Gump, the movie. Like that's art. You make like emotions, you bring emotions. Like this bodybuilding is more like I'm satisfied I'm winning. Maybe my wife is satisfied or happy, but for everybody else, who cares?
That's true. Yeah, I've never really thought about it like that. It is truly like with this performance, and I think it's almost very unique to bodybuilding in a way, because even if you look at like other sports, if you think about football, basketball, baseball, whatever, if their team is out there performing well, even the fans are like really excited about it for themselves and for the team. But for bodybuilding, it really is almost like, especially unless you're looking at like the very, very top who just have tons of fans maybe, but for like the average, even average pro bodybuilder, it's really kind of like your success, or the ones that are very, very close to you, success only.
Never thought about that. Yeah, 100%. Obviously, when Samson won, a lot of people were happy and had emotions, but he is one of million.
Mm-hmm.
When I win a show, my family is gonna be happy. That's all, and the friends. So, but if you go on stage and make 500-600 people laugh, you take for even a short period of time, you take people to another place where they don't think about their life, their job, maybe their problems,
Mm-hmm.
You make them forget the world for a moment. It's like almost like watching a good movie,
right. Yeah. Very true. Looking for a supplement company that's as serious about your fitness goals as you are? All Sport Pharmaceuticals is here to help. Their top-of-the-line supplements are designed to help you get the most out of every workout with ingredients that have been scientifically proven to enhance performance and recovery. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just starting out on your fitness journey, All Sport Pharmaceuticals has the perfect supplements to help you achieve your goals. Plus, with their commitment to quality and safety, you can trust that you're getting a product that's both effective and reliable. So what are you waiting for? Take your fitness game to the next level with All Sport Pharmaceuticals. Visit the website today to learn more. When it comes to like being on prep and performing as a comedian, is that something that I guess you would have to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, right now when I'm deep in prep, I'm not doing it, to be honest, because it's just hard. Like I said, if I prep hard. Like I barely can walk right now. I wrote today, my coach said even walking hurts. I'm so exhausted. And to go on stage and making jokes is just like would not be possible.
Is it like do you know, I guess, like intuitively, like, hey, at this point I still can, but maybe in like a week I won't be able to do that anymore?
Oh yeah, you know that.
can you tell by like the audience sometimes too? Like you think you're good to go and you think like you have energy, but then when you go out there, like you're just not getting the same response.
No, I never felt that because, like I said, I mostly know when I need to back up, you know. Like it's also with comedy to make money is hard. So it's with comedy right now, I'm not making a ton of money. It's more the coaching aspect. I don't know if you know Derek Lunsford.
Yes.
So he's one of my best friends, and we're having together a coaching company, UC Fit. So if somebody outside wanna be coached, me and Derek has a coaching company called UC Fit. You can also go on Instagram. That's what I'm doing as a main income. And you can also imagine, as a bodybuilder, I don't make any money.
Right.
I'm happy that I don't need to pay for the shows as a pro bodybuilder, but that's all.
Yeah.
So that's why I know when I need to slow back and not do comedy, because at some point it's not going to be enjoyable. Like, you need to be in a happy place to make other people laugh. You can't motivate somebody if you are unmotivated.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm sad, then I can't make you happy. And so that's
Right.
the dark side.
Yeah. And I feel like also like being a comedian and being a bodybuilder, they're kind of very similar in a way to where there's a lot of comedians out there who are trying to like make it and are trying to get to the top. And there's a lot of bodybuilders out there who are trying to make it and try to get to the top. And there's very little, I would say, I guess, monetary reward almost like along the way until you are one of those top.
Mm-hmm.
And so that takes, I guess, like a lot of love and a lot of passion for what you do in both aspects.
Yeah, you're right, totally right. Both of them, you make it or you don't make it. It's like exactly like that. So when you don't make it, you don't make it in comedy, you don't make any money.
And
When you
how much of your bodybuilding how much of your bodybuilding translates over into your comedy? Does it kind of like do the does it
I have some jokes about bodybuilding. Funny is also on May 6th. I am guest posing at the St. Louis Pro, where I'm doing a guest posing and stand up together. That's first time ever in this industry. So that's gonna be a funny too.
That's interesting. I'm actually here
Yeah.
in Kentucky, so not too far of a drive. What you said that was in May?
Yeah, May 6th.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Dang, yeah. I think that's so cool because there's so much room in bodybuilding for like in innovation and like doing things a new way. And you know, you look at other like major sport leagues and it's kind of like the same thing and you can't really like break into that and do something new and different. But in bodybuilding, there's so much like flexibility. There's so many people who are involved that like if you present somebody with a good idea, then you can make something new happen. And I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and making people laugh is just amazing.
Right. Oh yeah. That's actually, yeah, that's really cool. Kind of bringing those two worlds together. And also for bodybuilders out there who don't necessarily have something, you know, I can't remember who I was talking to somebody very recently and they were saying that that bodybuilding initially was like just a hobby for them, and then they reached the Olympia stage, and they're like, I guess this is technically kind of no longer a hobby, and so they just
Mm-hmm.
like picked up a new hobby, and I was like, you know, it's so interesting because there's so many people out here saying I don't have time for this, don't have time for that, and then this person over here is like, well, I picked up bodybuilding, which takes so much time anyway, and then I got pretty successful at it, and now they're like, what else can I do? Because I think it takes a lot of dedication, but also
Risk.
takes,
Yeah.
it takes like you need like a mental break. You need something to like what else is there in your life? And I think a lot of bodybuilders are so focused on bodybuilding that they don't necessarily have that um what is it?
Yeah, like I missed
Compression.
yeah, I did back in the days way more hardcore bodybuilding than I'm doing now, to be honest. Like, I didn't celebrate my birthdays. I never went out to family meetings. But now I'm just being transparent. If I'm on prep and 12 weeks out and I want to go out, I go out. Because life is too short. I don't make any money with bodybuilding. And yeah, life is beautiful. And there's more than just bodybuilding. Even when I love bodybuilding, there's also other things in life.
Yeah, definitely. And knowing when to wear those different hats of mindset, like I think that's like going back to what we're talking about, the balance of it. You have to know, like, okay, it's a good time to do that, or it's a good time to maybe focus a little bit more on this thing, or I might need, just I think personal reflection and understanding like where you are and not letting what you're doing fully become who you are, because you're still this person. You're still, I'm still Daniel. Even if I'm really encapsulated in this world or this sport or whatever, I'm still this person, and I still have to have an identity to myself.
Yeah, like you can't just sacrifice your family and friends or even wife for bodybuilding, because one day it's not here and then you're alone. So you need to find a balance, and you need to have a supportive family, wife or girlfriend. But I'm happy I have, otherwise I wouldn't be here. So
yeah,
that's very important,
right,
to find the balance.
Yeah, and if a bit in the stress aspect, I think a lot of people talk about it's so stressful. I have so much on my plate. I think it's intuitive to think that it's good to like be busy all the time, and it's good to have a million things going on, and it's okay if I'm feeling stressed because it's a sign of I have all the things going on. But at the same time, if it is causing that, if it's causing like that I guess literally stressful response, I mean, what toll does that take?
Yeah.
And I think that just goes back to what you're saying about balance.
Yeah, balance is very important.
So, looking into like this season and then upcoming seasons within bodybuilding, what do you kind of like? What's your major goal within the sport? I think it's interesting you were talking about, bringing comedy into the sport. Do you have any other things, any other thoughts? Like, how can we make something new here? How can we do something different here?
Yeah, so one goal is definitely bringing comedy into the fitness world. That's one goal. Another goal is I would like to be one time at the Olympia, if possible. But let's say this way, I wouldn't risk my health or family for being at the Olympia. This season, it's not going to end with this show. And what most people don't know is I look big, but I still have 17 pounds weight gap I can fill up. So if I'm probably going to take a longer break, concentrate on family, business, grow, and try again, maybe being at Olympia. Until then, combine fitness with bodybuilding, obviously.
Yeah. And then from a coaching perspective, how do you feel like the coaching experience for you, how has that kind of translated into just bodybuilding and your own personal bodybuilding? Like, what do you feel like you've learned and then maybe added to your own life, I guess?
I mean, I love coaching. That was always a part of me. I studied nutrition back in Switzerland, also personal training. It's always going to be a part of me. I love to do it. And yeah, it's a good income. And if you love to do it, it's a good job. You can work wherever you want, obviously.
And making that kind of flexibility, the ability to, I guess, kind of not just work where you want, but also kind of do other things that you want to do, having the ability to be like, okay, I don't want to, I want to schedule something for today at, 2 p.m. And traditionally you couldn't do that. But, I think it's a really cool bodybuilding in general, just I think has so many opportunities.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. And I love it. Otherwise I wouldn't do it.
But yeah, man, it was great getting to chat with you a little bit tonight. I guess this afternoon more. It was interesting kind of hearing the culmination of the two aspects of your life, or two, major aspects of your life, I guess, kind of how they come together, and some of the vision that you have for comedy and bodybuilding as coming together in one entity. I'm really excited to see where that does go, because I am a huge fan of both.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. Like, maybe my energy is a little bit low. I'm 6 days out, but I hope I enjoyed the conversation. I hope people take some notes from it, and when I change somebody's mind, it's really worth it.
Absolutely. I think that's what it's all about.
If you're tired of searching for a coach or trainer, somebody who knows what they're talking about and has experience, make sure you go check out the new Coach's Corner on weightroompodcast.com. You can find quality, qualified coaches to help you achieve your goals, whether that's in bodybuilding or just general fitness. Stop wasting time and start achieving your goals today. The link to the Coach's Corner is down in the description below.